Hello, divas. Um, this is gonna be one of those type of chats where I'm gonna wallow in a certain part of my emotional state for a little bit. So I'm hoping that you're ready for that. So I just came out of the movie Twinless with Dylan O'Brien and James Sweeney, and that was one of the best movies I've ever seen. And if people don't agree with me, that's fine, but like that was, wow. It was amazing. Story-wise, acting-wise, shots-wise, was just phenom, babe. Phenoms. So, while I was watching the film, spoiler alert for the film. So, there was a part of the film where, so the kind of the crux conflict of the film is that Dylan O'Brien's character has a twin who's passed away. And then he meets up with this other young fella at a, like, grieving twins group meeting thing. And then, it's revealed that this guy, that he meets at the meeting doesn't actually have a twin, but he's been, like, stalking Dylan O'Brien's character because he had, like, a one-night stand / date with his twin, and he, like, fell in love with him for that one night. And he confronts him in the street when he ghosts him the next day. And when he goes into the street, he gets hit by a car, and that's how Dylan O'Brien's twin died. So he's harboring this big secret. That stems out a whole other thing that is not really what I wanted to talk about in relation to what the film kind of ignited in me. And it's just how he talks about how he has this magical night. There's one night with this person. And part of what he talks about in the film is that he has this magical night that goes so well, and then he ghosts him the next day, or just in general. And he talks about, like, that one night, I don't know, just felt like enough to fall in love with that person. I don't know if that's love. I don't think that's love, but it does, like, you can definitely become infatuated with somebody in the span of one night. But what this kind of brought out in me was just like, oh my God, I feel this, unfortunately, way too hard. Like, the way that throughout my life with people that have given me just the bare minimum, and when they give me just the slightest bit of anything for me to hold close to my heart, it just warms my spirit enough to continue that cycle, right? And I don't know, it just made me think about my relationship to romance as it stands. And this isn't about diagnosing anything and beginning a journey to recovery just yet, but it's something I want to talk about. I think something I've constantly had to be reminded of, I've put on this, like, facade of, like, or I've been trying to assert this facade of confidence that I'm, like, that bitch. And part of that is true at times, but like with any human emotion, it's going to fluctuate with the wind, right? But something that I constantly circle back to is as soon as somebody who I deem as maybe cooler or more attractive, or gives me something that gives me something that adds to me that I feel like I don't have without them, it sets me insane, dude. Absolutely drives me insane. And it kind of reminds me of a thing that my brother told me about that's apparently that someone says in The Talented Mr. Ripley. The better version of Saltburn, apparently. It's that, like, you know, when this person that you see and you, I don't know, you put them on this pedestal like you do with crushes a lot of the time, is that when they look at you, it just feels so warm and you love it and you just adore that feeling. And then when it disappears, it just feels so cold. And you do anything to get that feeling back. And I think, like, in a sense, and this is something that a lot of people go through, but this is just something I've been discovering about myself in my own time. It's just like, I don't know if, like, I get caught up in these moments where I need somebody to want me sexually. Like, kind of purely sexually. In order to, like, feel confident, to feel amazing. And I think that's why I keep falling into this cycle of going back to Grindr. I don't think having Grindr has anything to do with me getting sexual gratification. It's about feeling like that I'm enough to somebody. And in whatever, and not even in a meaningful capacity, for like one night, being in the room with somebody, having sex with them, not having sex with them, cuddling with them, to feel like for a moment that I matter to that person. And that makes sense. We're going to get into gritty details here. So if any of my family are watching this, let's not do this part if you don't want to. But like when I've been with guys sexually, I've never once finished. And I've always not cared that much about that. You know, I kick up a stir like in a joke about it after the fact. I'm like, oh, I didn't even get to finish. But in reality, I'm now going into hookups now with the expectation that I'm just going to give them a blowjob and then leave and have nothing reciprocated to me. And I'm actually like, I've become okay with that. And although like, if you're okay, it's a thing of like, if you're okay with it, you're okay with it, but it's certainly not an equal transaction. And so like, I need to come, but it's like, at this point in my life, it's like I'm doing it just because I feel like I have power in that moment and I gave someone something, and I almost feel like if they make me come, it's like I don't, I've now given away too much of myself and now they have power over me. They've done that. And I feel like when I make someone else come and just them and not me, it gives me this like power of sorts that I'm like I did that to them and they were vulnerable with me in that way, and I still managed to keep my distance. And I get to like wear it like a little feather in my cap, which is not healthy. It's not. And like, so it's made me that like so much of my worldview that I'm trying to fight and dial back nowadays, but it keeps circling back to this thing of just like, so much of what I've done in my life has just been about being attractive to other people. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel this way that I do. Like, this isn't like a woe is me, like, oh my God, this is my struggle that no one else understands. It's not about that. It's just like recently, in an attempt to reclaim my power, I created an alternate account on Grindr that really leans into my feminine side. Because I felt like on Grindr, those two things had never been able to coexist, so I separated them. And now my feminine side has just become another addiction of people telling me that I'm beautiful and telling me I'm beautiful and telling me that they want me. And I have no real intention of attaching myself to any of these people. And I know this because I've been in situations where these people almost reach out in a moment or create a thing where it could lead to that point. But it seems like that's not what I'm after. It seems like what I'm after is just to get these little highs of just like, of feeling like you matter. Of feeling like for this night, for this moment that you're sharing between you two, you are the only thing in their world. And that is not the case. To put that level of fanaticism on things like Grindr hookups is not good. And I want to unwind that, but like watching this film, it just made like seeing what the guy did and just like seeing the way he confronted him in the street. Obviously, like it's not like I would never do that because I know rationally that's not the right thing to do. But there's just so many times that I've felt like I've wanted to do that because like there's these guys that I feel like I have a special moment with, and then I guess I'm backtracking a little bit. I'm saying like, because I said that's not what I want, but there are these people in the world when more is what I want, when I want to see them again, it's often because I feel like they have something that I don't. And I'm like pursuing it. And I don't know if it's an attempt to just like stare at the thing that they have that I don't feel like I have, whether that's like a physical or like more emotional trait that I feel like I don't have. But I want to like hold it, whether it's like me like wanting to just stare at it, or if I feel like hanging out with them for long enough will make me that thing. Because I have so often been held back by the idea that like this person's so sweet, this person's so nice, but they're just not attractive enough for me to think that other people would be jealous of me. Which is so surface, and that's so vain. And when I say this, I say these things in quite an aggressive tone, calling it vain and calling it surface, and that is really how I'm just gonna go through this. I am going to lead with love, like, later on, and just, like, try understand myself. But at this moment, I just, like, I want to talk about this in, like, the most rawest terms I can come to it with. But, like, so many times I'm like, there's been guys that have been beautiful and have been amazing to me and been very kind and show me the kind of respect that I feel like I deserve. But I would still choose somebody who was conventionally attractive, and people at a distance would say, wow, that guy, that I would want to fuck that guy. I'm jealous that that guy's with that guy. I would choose that person over the person who's kind to me. Which sucks. That sucks. So, I'm just like, I don't know. As much as I've tried to, like, live my life thinking of, like, I'm not, like, my life isn't about public perception. It's, like, it feels like it's on very outlying things, or most things of my life, it doesn't. But then it feels like almost I'm winding it back, and it does come back to that. To that sort of public perception and public adoration. Yeah, maybe that's why I chose a life in the performing arts. A life. I chose to pursue the performing arts. And even a guy that just texted me that I think is really cute texted me, and I feel like a stirring feeling in my stomach because I want to end this so I can actually read his message, because I asked him if he wanted to hang out tonight. And so it's happening now. I'm doing it right now. I don't know, man. So this film just made me realize, like, how desperate I might just be. That's fun. That's really fun. Again, maybe other people feel this way. I've never felt from other people that they felt this way. And maybe that's because people don't feel this way, or maybe people are just a bit too ashamed to say it, but that's what I have this for. It's what I have this for, is to talk about it. So, yeah. Coming to terms that you might be more desperate than you thought, it makes you feel very aware of the world around you, and it makes you feel very butterfly inside, and it makes you, like, even, like, physically, even walking back to the car after, like, kind of having this moment of thinking back on it, it felt like my footsteps, I could hear it all. I could hear the world so much clearer. And not necessarily in a good way. It's just like I became so much more aware of my surroundings. But again, maybe I'm just having a dramatic moment. Maybe this is like based off a responsive stimuli that I've been feeling recently. Maybe this is just something that I feel temporarily, but because it's resonating so frequently right now, I feel like it's a whole life thing, and I'm drawing comparisons between things in my whole life. Maybe it is just a moment. But I don't know. But I could microanalyze it to the day I die. Yeah. I'll get back to you guys in a second. I was texting that guy. To be totally honest. And I'm at this point where, like, if we're talking about what I feel in this current moment, like, on a very surface level, is I just want to, like, hang out with somebody. But, like, romantically. Or sexually. I want to be next to somebody right now. And that's because I don't know, like, I want to feel, like, I don't feel like I'm enough at this moment. I don't feel hot enough or attractive enough on my own. And so I feel like I need to hang out with somebody to have sex with, or to cuddle with, or to something, just to make me feel like I am. And, like, I don't know. When people describe feeling lonely, is that what they mean? Like, I feel lonely because I don't feel enough on my own, so I need to be with somebody else to help me feel that way. Because I feel like I felt lonely before, but loneliness has never really felt like this. At least to my immediate memory. Let's leave with some love, though. Now we've got that out there and off my chest. I don't necessarily think I feel good, but I feel a bit relieved, which is kind of a form of good. But I think queer people have a really hard time with finding love and acceptance within themselves. I think someone, especially like me, who that sort of desire and people seeking after them didn't really come easy to me in my younger years, or at all in my younger years. So that sort of like hunger for that affection that maybe you deal with when you're in high school by having girlfriends, boyfriends, and you find out who you are in high school, and then you get it out of your system in a way. I didn't even get it out of my system when I was in uni. So now I'm left with like all of like wanting all of that at 23. Coachella, Sunnies. Yeah. So I don't think I felt like that for a long time, so I think I'm just trying to make up for it, and I think that makes sense. I'm not here to tell myself that, I'm not in this moment going to tell myself that I'm beautiful and that I'm the catch and whatever. That's not really the point. The point is not to make myself feel better about how I'm feeling by counteracting it with things that make it untrue. The point is here, at least, is to give myself grace and give myself leeway with why I would feel this way. And yeah, I haven't felt very attractive I think I wasn't made to feel very attractive on that sort of level by a lot of people growing up, and that's not an insult towards those people. It's just the way I looked wasn't resonating. That's okay, and so now I think my brain in those developmental years has now made me think like I'm always that person. And even though I recognize on a certain level that I'm different now. I look different. I look different. I've changed. My personality's different. I've been through things now. I still feel like I still, like, in my heart, maybe feel like I'm that kid who people said that was ugly, people said that was annoying, and people said that was fat. People said that was, like stupid. Like, I don't know. And in my, like, early high school years, who people said was mean. Because I was mean in early high school. I was a bit mean. So I don't know. Maybe I just feel trapped in how I felt then. Because people say this all the time. Like, do you ever feel like you're not actually an adult? You just feel like you're a 15-year-old in your adult body? Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do feel that. And that's okay to feel that way, I think. I feel, yeah. It feels very weird to be talking about all this, honestly. Like, but I think, and then when you throw in the whole being queer thing into that whole mix, it makes things even more confusing. And also, I also, like, had some difficult relationships with people that I had crushes on throughout high school. One guy was, like, quite emotionally unstable to me, and I became very emotionally unstable as a result. And one of them was straight. And with that, when you feel, and it feels like no major crush I've ever had has ever felt the same way about me. And I think that accumulates to, oh, I'm just like not enough for anybody, you know? Whether it be a boy named Ethan that I grew up with, whether it be a boy named Luke that I grew up with, or whether it be my friend Nick in later years, or Victoire, who he wasn't like a major crush, but he was still like, you know, someone who I had affections for. And when they all just say to you continuously that they don't feel that same way about you, I'm not mad at them, because again, it's just an incompatibility thing. They feel the way they feel, and I would never expect them to override that, or to pretend, or have to push themselves to do something they don't want to do. However, it does accumulate, and you start to go like, why am I just not enough for the people that I care about? Like in that way. I don't know, man. It makes me sad, though. And that's okay. It's okay to feel sad about these things. And as much I understand, the right person will come along that will make me feel like enough in due time. But the thing is, I don't want someone to have to make me feel like I'm enough. I want to just feel like I'm enough on my own. I want to be that person who's just happy to exist and not need anything, not need anything, because everyone needs something. But I want to be that person that just is able to just exist and live for themselves. And then if they find a partner, great. They're going to be cool and kosher and just like unbothered by their relationships and the ups and downs of relationships, and just live their life for them and care about their relationship with themselves. I want to be that person. But sometimes I'm thinking about it and I'm like, am I incapable of being that person? And that sucks if I'm incapable of being that person, because I really want to be that person. Because feeling like this for the rest of my life sounds painful. Sounds really painful. So, I don't know. I think I need a change. I think some things need to change in my life. Because I don't feel like... Because there are moments where I feel like I'm where I need to be, and I forget about this part of myself, this like desperation I experience. And that's when I feel like I'm living a fulfilled life. When I was at uni, I didn't really feel this way. Not at least most of the time. Like a lot of the time I didn't. In some moments I felt like this, but most of the time I think I felt like enough. But when I describe these times, I say they're fulfillment, but is it fulfillment, or was I just extremely busy? And when you're extremely busy, do you just forget about all these aspects? Am I just distracting myself with things? Am I just running from it instead of actually just facing it head on and just showing I feel this way? Yeah. Let me brew on what I need. I need to brew on what that would mean for me. To deal with it. What would that mean? Just a sec. So we're fully open and honest. I did also just stop the recording just to see if that guy I was talking to had texted me back about coming over. It's so funny how I can be so aware and so cognizant of how I feel, but also perpetrate that behavior at the same fucking time. Insane work on my part. Quite amazing that I'm able to have that level of versatility, really. But What would that look like though? Me being aware, or me putting myself on that road? Would it just mean finding the things that really fulfill me and trying to build something off of that? Because the things that I find fulfilling are quite hard to spend your time doing. Quite hard to spend your time doing when they don't pay that much and you have to make a living. But in 2026, this is gonna be stuff for a later vlog. But we do approach New Year's, so this is relevant. 2026, I want to start maybe putting down some music, doing that kind of thing. Maybe deleting Grindr again. We'll try that fucking horse again. That behemoth. Do I want to make some projects, some film. Start putting out some work that I enjoy and feel passionate about. Start doing like the things that I've always dreamt of doing but maybe been afraid to do. Music's a big one for that. I've always oh my god, it'd be so sick if I did like a dancing video, but I've always been like, oh, I'm not good enough of a dancer to do that, but maybe I should just do it. Because I feel like I wouldn't recognize my life if I just started giving into all the things that I've always wanted to do. But it's also been a thing of like, where do I start? Because wanting it to be perfect definitely does get in the way. But I don't worry about this being perfect. It doesn't need to be. It's just me. The only requirement for this is for me to put the camera on and say my fucking words. Which most of the time I even struggle to do. But in moments like this, I feel like I speak with a lot more clarity, which makes me feel good. Yeah. As of this moment, though, it would be stupid for me to just sit here and wait for this guy to text me back. Stupid. It would be potentially a waste of your time to sit here and wait for this guy to text you back. So maybe I should get out of this parking lot and just go home. What could I do when I get home to fulfill me instead of hanging out with a boy? Should I play a video game? Don't really want to DJ right now. It's a bit late at night to do a singing video. Maybe I should just switch on the PS5, play a video game. Do you want to text boys on Grindr? You can just do that, but that would be kind of feeding into the vibe. You would just be changing locations to be desperate for male attention. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting male attention, but the amount that it seems like I want it seems, or the relationship I have with it seems kind of an unhealthy cycle to continuously feed into. I suppose we shall see. I think I'm going to wait around. I'm going to give myself grace to wait around. Hold on, let me finish that. I think I will wait around for like 5 more minutes. Sing a song in the car. Maybe even record it here. And then see how I feel. Let myself digest this information that I've just put out there, because this was a lot. It's funny how I'm not crying. I'm not really a big crier in general, but regardless, Twinless. Fantastic movie, especially if you're someone like me. Hey, I had some time to brew. Yeah, so not even that I'm not, this isn't about, I haven't thought anything different about what I've just said. It's just, I just think it is probably worth acknowledging that I'm a very sensitive person. That seems pretty evident right about now. I do need to acknowledge that part of this might have something to do with my sleep schedule right now. Maybe it's a bit fucked. Maybe there's things like to do with just like my basic living habits that could be changed. We were just on the topic of things that we could change that could maybe improve my mental state. That could be part of that. That's all I wanted to say, but yeah, maybe I'm just really in my feelings at this moment, and it all just feels like it's a build-up, and I'm seeing like patterns based on maybe what I want to see or what I think I see, or maybe just based off of the things in the film I thought I resonated with. I don't know, but whatever I said, what I said then was valid, what I'm saying now is valid. It's all fucking valid, but like, just wanted to acknowledge that nothing is, no emotional state is concrete. Fucking hell, guy just was approaching the intersection quite fast. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna sing some songs.